All right, so part 2 is to rationalize the following fractions and then go through the different trig functions. So if I have 1 over the square root of 7, rationalize, all that means is I do not want radicals in the denominator. So I have to multiply by that radical to rationalize it. Okay, so if I have the square root of 7, I'm going to multiply by the square root of 7 in the numerator and the denominator to keep the value of the fraction the same. So 1 times the root 7 is square root 7. Root 7 times root 7 is 7. This does not reduce, so this is our final answer. If I have a square root of 5, we don't multiply by the 3. We only multiply by the radical because that's the only problem. I don't want the radical in the denominator. So I'm going to end up with negative 2 root 5 over 3 times 5. Well, that can still be simplified to negative 2 root 5 over 15. 2 and 15 are not like term, or are not common factors, or don't share a common factor, so we cannot reduce. Okay, trig functions, SOHCAHTOA. So we just did this, but this just means that the sine of the theta of any angle is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse in a right triangle. So if I have theta inside the triangle, the non-90 degree angle, this would be opposite, this would be adjacent, and this would be the hypotenuse across from the 90. Cosine of any angle theta is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Maybe I should write opposite and hypotenuse. Adjacent and hypotenuse. And tangent of theta is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. So then we talked about the cofunctions. The cofunctions are the reciprocals of the main function sine, cosine, and tangent. So if I have sine theta, sine has a cofunction of cosecant, sorry. Okay, so sine, also known as sin, and CSC. Okay, cosine has a cofunction of secant. Okay, actually I should make these double arrows because they're reciprocals of one another. And so the sign, or the abbreviations, cosine theta, SEC theta. Give that double arrow. Okay, and then lastly, tangent has a cofunction, this one's easy, of cotangent. Okay, so then tan theta and cot. Okay. So now show the trig ratios for each term in terms of x, y, and r. So if I have sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse, that's y over r. Cosine is is x over r. Tangent is y over x. Okay, so cosecant is the reciprocal. All it is r over y. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine, so r over x. And cotangent is the reciprocal of x over y. Okay, and these values are important, especially when we get to the unit circle. So we're going to make sure we come back and refer to these. Okay.